Bonjour tout le monde!
Bonjour!
Welcome to the first episode of À Table with
Natalie
and Tara.
How are you doing, Tara?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. I've been vaccinated.
I have been vaccinated too.
Then let's get rid of our masks.
Let's do it!
Yay! This is so much better.
All right, so for this first episode, Natalie, we are going to start with a Gratin Dauphinois, and then you will be showing us how to make
Une mousse au chocolat.
Sounds yummy. So for the Gratin Dauphinois, the ingredients are you're going to need 5 pounds of potatoes, 2 cups of milk, 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, a clove of garlic, some salt, some pepper, a little bit of butter, some nutmeg, and you are going to need 1 baking dish. This is a 7x11 one. Optional, but it's better if you can get your hands on one, mandolin to cut the potatoes. If you don't have a mandolin, you can use just a knife and a cutting board.
And what temperature do we need to cook it at?
You are going to need to put it in the oven at 300 degrees for about 3 hours.
Wow, that's low and slow.
Low and slow, but very yummy.
Great. Now, you said this is a gratin dauphinois. Can you tell us what that means?
Yes, so a gratin dauphinois is a very French dish that we serve as a comfort food. Although it is called a gratin, it doesn't have any cheese, as you will notice in the ingredients. And a little bit about history about the gratin dauphinois. The first time it was actually served was during the French Revolution in 1788, more specifically. And it was served for the first time in the region of Dauphiné, which is now divided into 3 different French regions, and it was served after a battle.
Wow. So if you want to add cheese, is that going to ruin this dish?
It's not going to ruin it. However, it's not going to be a gratin dauphinois anymore. It will be a gratin savoyard.
Oh, interesting. So in France, if you see something that's a gratin, it doesn't mean it has cheese. Just
case in point.
Very good. All right, take us through the steps.
Okay, so let's start by peeling our potatoes and cutting them.
Okay. Now, we have done the hard work first. So you will, of course, need to get a potato peeler and peel all of these, but we did that beforehand. So I'm going to move these out of the way. And if you have a mandolin, you can easily slice them. Tara, do you want to show them how to slice them on the mandolin? Here we have one. How thin should it be?
It should be extremely thin. We are using the thinnest setting here, which is
1/32.
1/32.
They are paper thin.
There you go. And again, if you do not have a mandolin, you can just use a knife.
But these are so handy because it makes it consistent and fast, and it saves you from cutting your fingers as well. All right, now that you have these thinly sliced potatoes.
So just to give you an idea.
Now what do we do?
So now you are going to layer the potatoes inside of your baking dish. And in each layer, we're going to do 1 layer potato, 1 layer milk, 1 layer heavy whipping cream, and nutmeg, salt, and pepper. And then go ahead with another layer. For the very first layer, which is not, it's just the bottom of the dish, you're going to take half of a garlic clove and rub your baking dish rub your baking dish with the clove so that you get a slight taste of garlic without actually getting the bitterness or just the crunchiness of the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, that's not very garlicky at all.
It's not. But you do taste it a little bit.
A little bit, just to give it a little flavor.
And then we are going to add the butter. Can you do that?
Yes. Do I just rub it on there?
You just rub it on there.
I'll just rub it in here. Is this to help it from sticking?
It is. It is. So it's more for the practical side of it than the taste. Thank you.
All right.
All right. So then you go ahead. You can grab a little stack of potatoes that you have just sliced and start layering. All right. So we've done our first layer of potatoes. Now you are going to take some pepper and some salt. Just go ahead and salt it. Pepper. And then I have here some nutmeg, also dusted in there.
Nutmeg, we don't use that often in savory dishes in the United States.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, no, it is any dish with potatoes in French cooking, you will find a lot of nutmeg.
Really? Yeah, that's interesting.
So then you do a little bit, I'm gonna give you the milk, a little bit of milk that you pour over.
Now how much? Because I know this has to last us for a while.
Just enough to cover the potatoes.
I'm gonna start slow because I know we have a lot of layers to go.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm just gonna drizzle also a little bit of heavy whipping cream. And there you go.
Very nice.
And then you just keep going this way until you get at the very top of your baking dish. All right, and this is our last layer. So just like you did for the previous layers, lay the potatoes, and then you'll be adding salt, pepper, nutmeg, heavy cream, and milk.
Voila. I like a lot of pepper.
I like a lot of nutmeg. There you go. And pour the remainder of your milk and of your heavy cream.
Great. And you said this has to cook for how long?
So this is going to cook at 300 degrees for about 3 hours. I would suggest checking on it after an hour and a half. Be careful of the spilling. It does spill a little bit in your oven. And the way you know it's cooked is that you put a knife in it, and if it's soft, then it's good to go. It's also going to look a little bit gratiné. So that's also how.
What does gratiné mean?
Gratiné means it's going to be a little bit brown on the top, not burned, but just a little bit brown.
Okay.
And that's the effect of the fat in the milk and in the heavy cream.
Great. Do you want to take that and we'll put it in the oven?
Let's do it.
So we're going to put this in the oven for 3 hours. We'll get it out at around 5 o'clock, just in time for dinner.
Et voilà, it's ready.
It looks delicious. And this is what you call the gratiné here?
That is exactly what I call the gratiné. So as you can see, it is brown on top and there's no cheese. Remember, there's no cheese. So it's just the effect of the milk and the cream together.
Smells delicious.
It does.
I can't wait to try it.
À table.
Rebonjour tout le monde.
Rebonjour, welcome back.
So now we're moving on to part 2. We're going to make la mousse au chocolat. I'm using Julia Child's recipe from The French Chef Show. It's a great cookbook if you want to learn how to cook French recipes because they're already converted to American temperatures and measurements. And she does it very easily step by step. So I like her recipe from la mousse au chocolat. It does not use heavy whipping cream, so it makes a lighter mousse.
Right?
Are you ready?
Yeah, what do we need?
So we need a cup of semi-sweet chocolate. I use 60% chocolate and I cut it up to make 1 cup. And to that, you're gonna add 4 tablespoons of strong coffee and microwave it for about a minute. Then you wanna stir it until it's smooth, like we have done here.
It looks good.
Excellent. And then to this, we're going to add 1.5 stick of butter. That should be very, very soft, but not melted. We're gonna add this directly into the chocolate.
Okay.
And we just whisk this until it's smooth. If you want to do that, that would be great. So while she's whisking that, I'll explain the rest. We have 4 eggs separated. We have the egg yolks in here and the egg whites here. So that's 4 eggs separated. I'm going to be working on the egg yolks. And to that, we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of sugar and 1/4 cup of coffee. So, but first, I'm going to whip these egg yolks until they look like mayonnaise. This is great when you have 2 people. Cuts the job in half. Normally, we do the chocolate first, and the egg yolks, and the egg whites. But Tara and I are going to cut our work in half. That looks good, Tara. Is it all dissolved or almost?
Almost.
I'm going to add some more sugar to this. I'm right-handed, so I have to switch every time I pour. I can't. I'm not very ambidextrous, unfortunately. I'm going to check it. If we're almost there. I think we can go a little bit further. It should be a little whipped up more. So I'm going to go a little more. That looks pretty good. See how it is, but it's still kind of grainy. So at this point, I'm going to add the coffee and I'm going to put it over a double boiler. This is some hot simmering water, not boiling. And I put my pot right on that and I cook it until the egg yolks are warm. This does 2 things. It cooks the egg yolks. If you're afraid of eating raw eggs, this eliminates that problem, but it also helps melt the sugar so it's not grainy at all. So I'm going to add my 1/4 cup of coffee to that. Give that a little mix. And then I'm going to, if I can turn that off, sorry. I'm going to move to the stove and cook my egg yolks and whip this up until, again, they look like mayonnaise. And Tara is going to work on the egg whites. She's going to start with a low speed until she gets a soft peak. And then as she goes on, she's going to add the sugar until she gets a stiff peak.
Perfect.
Ready?
Let's do it.
All right.
Add the sugar in.
Okay, so I have finished cooking it. The egg yolks are warm. It took about 4 minutes. And as you can see, they're slightly foamy. So to cool them off, because you don't want to use hot egg whites, I'm putting it into some water with ice, and I'm going to beat it again until it's thick. All right, so see how it kind of runs. It's thick. It's kind of like I want to say a thin mayonnaise. Just hot out of the way. The next thing we need to do, we're going to add our chocolate to our egg. I have done this before, so I know it will barely fit in this pot. If you feel like it won't fit in your pot, then get a bigger pot, because you need to incorporate the chocolate to the egg yolk mixture thoroughly. But like I said, I've done this before, so I know it will just work in here. And this is, I think, a 2-quart pot. It's not very big. Get rid of that. And we are just going to mix these two. It doesn't have to be completely, you don't have to see every bit of egg yolk gone, because we're also then going to add the egg whites to it. As you can see, it looks very moussey now. What does mousse mean, by the way?
Mousse means foam.
So you see, it looks very foamy. And where else can we see the word mousse? Where would we see it?
Mousse, you would see it in anything that is...
like I've seen like seafoam, like this,
right?
Or for your hair.
Right, mousse. For your beard too, the shaving cream, right?
Oh.
We call it mousse à raser. So mousse to shave, mousse à raser.
Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I'm going to now add this to my serving dish. Because I'm lazy, I don't like to do a lot of dishes.
Of course.
I'm going to put this in my serving dish, and I am going to mix the egg whites directly into here.
That's smart.
To save one step. Normally, you would add them to a bowl and then transfer that to a serving dish. But so I'm going to get my rubber spatula. Do you want to do this, Tara?
Sure.
So you're going to add 1/4 of the egg whites to this and fold them in very gently. So 1/4 to start off with, and then just turn it over until they are incorporated.
Sounds good. And you have to be very delicate here, right? Not
Yes.
Great.
Right, because you don't want to collapse your egg whites that you just spent 5 minutes whipping up.
Right. It smells very nice. Is that okay?
It looks great. And once it's kind of lightened like that, you can add another 1/4 to 1/3.
Okay.
And you keep doing that until it's incorporated, but little by little, so as not to collapse that. You don't want the heavy chocolate mixture to collapse the egg whites.
How long does it need to chill in the fridge?
So that's a good point. I was just going to say, so after we're done incorporating this is not, unfortunately, an instant dessert. It does need to set up for about 4 hours or overnight, but it's well worth the wait. This is a great dessert to make ahead of time because it does need to chill. So you can prepare it the day before and go about your business, and then whip it out at the last minute and show your guests, and they will be stunned by the deliciousness of this. That looks good. Why don't you put in the last bit?
Is mousse au chocolat something typically French?
Yes. In fact, it was invented, or the first seen, in 1755 at the court of Louis the 16th. And Marie Antoinette actually brought over a pastry chef from Germany, and they incorporated mousse au chocolat into their menu. I think it appeared in recipe books in around 1820. Then they started making recipes with it, because as chocolate became more available to the general public, it was something that now the everyday person can make, which at one time had been reserved for the aristocracy.
Awesome.
That looks great. Yeah. So now you can just sort of smooth that out. We'll cover that and we'll put it in the refrigerator Another thing you can do is if you don't want to put it in one large baking dish, you can put it into small ramekins and serve them individually.
Awesome. There you go.
Merci. Looks great. Let's put this away.
Bring in the fridge.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's time to eat.
Looks amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And these are the individual mousse. You can add whipped cream to it and some raspberries.
Yeah. So I guess à table.
À table.
Au revoir.